Greetings, fellow Ambazonians. Still one Chairman Capo Daniel. Today na Monday, Country Sunday, number 7 day for this month of September 2024. Na very early morning time, na think about 3 o'clock for Alberta, for place where they dey. I the one for Campo na today for address a second outing by Chris Ano, wey don come out for criticize the Canadian conference, wey dey be convened primarily by PRAP. PRAP, as una know, e don get an initiative for bring Ambazonian groups them, the various groups them together, so that make we forge a common position for devolution based on the vision wey we don put lay out devolution. We don the campaign now na 1 year, 9 months. This conference is be scheduled for this month, and we don invite various communal based Ambazonian groups and also leading Ambazonian organizations wey dey don champion our cause, make dem come together so that we fit put together a common position, make the peace plan paper e become a common position for Ambazonia, for make an offer for Cameroon for solve this war through negotiated settlement. The call for the devolution wey we don put am, we want make it become the basis for negotiation for the future of Cameroon. So that vision it come up. Chris Ano it don come out to criticize that conference, and it outing it be regrettable, but nevertheless na an opportunity for we to be accountable to the public, because we be transparent. We don't always put public accountability as a priority for the PRAP. So I will get into the video and forget details. These are very important communication why they make am for now. So make una take time una listen am from the beginning to the ending, for help una for get the knowledge for which we will do am on una behalf, and also for be engaged with which we will do am and for be in touch. So I then just come back, we then get a short travel for get complete briefing about the meeting that we'll get for New York, through the help of our international partners, for be able to directly present this peace plan initiative for other state parties, and where they become for the United Nations 78th session for New York. We'll be supposed to meet up 12 countries, then we'll end up meet up 10. We'll then get tremendous victory in terms of the support, 100% support for the peace plan paper, with a lot of offer them on the table for help to put more carrots where this program it go succeed. So as we march ahead, we'll get a threshold for 30 countries, then we would then plan, would then already contact them for prepare them, for meet up them, for talk about this one. Now it can be far more broader than the 30 countries that we talk. Over 100 countries they won't be open for get a presentation about this peace plan offer, or the expect for offer and for Cameroon for November. So without much ado, I go want to go for the video for Chris Ano, and we go break am down step by step on which way they talk. So make una be patient for follow and through. And this one for we now also an issue of public accountability and transparency. We'll always talk, so be ready for debate, we'll be ready for answer question, we'll be ready at any time, anywhere, with any other Ambazonian group or platform for
The
discuss.
chances of Ambazonia walking away.
So I go start the video again so that make all man here from the beginning.
The chances of Ambazonia walking away. La République du Cameroon whispers another Foumban-like event, this time in Canada. A clandestine conference scheduled for next week or next weekend has been convened with a purported aim of forging a peace plan. Could finally bring an end to the 8-year-long conflict in the Cameroons.
So Chris Ano he talk say there's a conference we done plan am for Canada here, for basically for place at the stay, because then they will kind of for place at the stay because of other reasons. They say the conference it be planned for next week, and it show he understand, so we know the place where the information will be given to Chris Ano. The conference it no be it will be planned for next week, but we don't move the conference further down October because of the busy, we were team will be busy for New York. It not for be possible for them to come up for the meeting for New York. Those come directly for here for the meeting without getting preparation and follow up from the meeting they will get from New York. Because most of those meetings then be very brief. We need for still get a follow up with those country then and the delegation them one on one later on. So now the reason that we don't postpone the date for the meeting. So the date of the meeting is not next week, as Chris already talked. It be further down. One of the things where he talk about the Foumban Conference, and he talks a Foumban Conference at the beginning of assimilation of our people. Them no, we need to be very clear about what happened for Foumban. As I began tell now, the Foumban Conference it will be celebrated as a great day by all Southern Cameroonians, including our leadership, the way they go for the all of them celebrate them despite they complain about the process for the Foumban Conference. Even one of the greatest critics for the union, Folong, I think now Professor Folong, will be here from the state of Bui, a highly respected patriotic nationalist of Southern Cameroon, even wrote that this was a great day for Pan African. Many African countries congratulated Cameroon that was created on that day of 1st of October, and they attribute that name, Cameroon being Africa in miniature, comes from the union between Southern Cameroon and French Cameroon. So that day was celebrated. It was not the beginning of it was not like a Cameroon military rule their military over our territory, like the people want to change it. No, it was celebrated by all of our people as a great success for these two brothers to come together. The problem we have did not start in Foumban, even though the safeguard in Foumban were strong. If you look at the constitution of the Federal Republic of Cameroon, it made it clear that the form of the state could not be changed. Those things were proposed by the Cameroon uh, government. There was lack of preparation from our side due to our own politics and also the issues we have with the British government. The incompetency was very clear. We were not highly supported, but it is our responsibility to be prepared for a meeting. So the Foumban conference was not the beginning of our problem. You could also say that the problem began when we left Nigeria. We could not leave Nigeria. In hindsight, you could make all those things, but we should be very straight about what happened. Foumban conference, as in general, was successful because a constitution came out of Foumban conference. Whether the constitution was all adopted because Cameroon had prepared their own document, we just simply adopt it, and the points that our delegation gave was not accepted. When you have a meeting, you bring your point, you have to fight for your point to be accepted. If our delegations were there focusing on doing dancing and all those stuff, who is to be blamed? If Foncha, the advice that was given to Foncha by the Bar Association was not taken into consideration, he as a leader did not prepare his team. He did not even give information about the documents he received from Cameroon to the other team member. And we are seeing that Ambazonia is also having the same thing, problem to debate. Foumban Conference was not the beginning of our problem. The beginning of our problem started when Amadou Ahidjo was called to France and was told to change the constitution so that they could tap petrol from our territory. That is the beginning of our problem. We should always know the truth about how our problem started. And our problem, the union, like I've told you people, was not created in Foumban. The union was created in the United Nations. Foumban was just a follow-up meeting to put a constitution together or terms of living together. It had nothing to do with the union. They could not accept or reject the union in Foumban. But Southern Cameroon could go back to the UN and say and make complaint if we were not happy. No complaint were ever made. Our delegations were admitted to our parliament that we call in West Cameroon was set up by the Foumban Conference, by the Foumban Constitution. Our prime minister was appointed from the Foumban Constitution. So those ones should be clear. So back to the conference, comparing this conference to Foumban Conference, as Chris wants to make the comparison, it shows the seriousness of the conference because it deals with living together. The conference we are putting is very consequential because you have a leading Ambazonian personality and a leading Ambazonian leader of one of our major immersion group, PRAP, is pushing a document. This is the first time Ambazonia have a document that constitutes our offer or what we are talking about. Because independence, they like this type of church, the way they go cast out demon for solve problem. This other mushroom church where they don't go where they go stand and say, I cast out this demon. No. Independence, you need to be able to articulate them. We talk every day so we want independent. Have we ever demanded Cameroon officially that we want independent with a submission in paper that Cameroon give us independent based on this document? No, we have never done that. We are so divided that in Switzerland and in Canada, there were no submission made for a demand. The only document that was submitted in Canada for our demand, not the document that people brought to prepare their 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 position, all those things. The document that would make demand was a document that I initiated with the demand of Ayabacho that we should make research on our own proposition, not just the complaints and all those things, but what are we demanding? Why do we want independence? Unfortunately, that document was never not even submitted because of the disagreements, or let me say, some people did not want to accept any reality. So, nevertheless, let us go into what Chris Ano have to say, so that you can get the content of what we are trying to do.
However, much like Foumban, this conference coming up in Canada is being criticized for its secrecy, lack of transparency, and the potential for further marginalization.
So, Chris Ano is criticizing our conference that it is full of secrecy, and that it doesn't we are not transparent, and that it can set up our people for further marginalization. And we think those are not correct. We have been very transparent with our people. The public is aware of this conference. We have made every announcement for the past 1 month to highlight this conference. The conference began with us inviting all Ambazonian groups about the Zoom general meeting for them to come and meet us and to have a copy of this paper. Mark Barata, in one of his outings, even accepted that he has accepted invitation to participate in this meeting. This meeting is part of a series of meetings to prepare the peace plan paper, an offer that will end this war and settle this war through the peaceful means, through negotiated settlement. We have made it public. It's not a secret meeting. Everybody knows about the meeting. So what Chris Ano is saying is not correct. We are transparent. Every leader, including Chris Ano, have received the peace plan paper, have read it, and have reacted to it. All Ambazonian activists, from J. Carl to Sikot Johnson to Mark Barata, every Ambazonian activist who have sacrificed so much for this struggle to champion our cause for separation and push for the aspiration of our people, have received a copy. We have even said those who have not, maybe by omission, have not received a copy, contact us, contact the PRAP members, and reach out. We are going to provide those documents to you and give you a chance to review them and see the things that you think are not right, and let us correct it together. Let us work within this framework so that this document is not just a PRAP document, but it is a document that reflects the general will of us, the separatist people, and the aspiration of the entire Ambazonian for independence. We have been very transparent with the process. It is not a secret meeting, it is known publicly, and we have been open for editing. The document have been reviewed several times. It is no longer the original document because many Ambazonian groups have edited it. Leading Ambazonian officials have give their input. We started developing this paper a long time ago, I think almost more than 1 year. We had meeting with the team of the IG, the mother IG. We had them examining the document, and everybody have had a chance. So if Chris Ano is saying that it is done in secret, it is just not true. So we want to assure our people that this is not something that is being done in secret. And this is something that we are being transparent with and we are accountable to. And that's why I'm here to respond to Chris. And we are ready to go anywhere to debate. We are ready to go anywhere to answer questions about this subject. Let us continue to listen.
The shadowy nature of this upcoming conference has raised eyebrows among many Ambazonia stakeholders and key players in the ongoing conflict. While the official aim is to forge a peace plan and chart a path forward, many are concerned that the process itself is deeply flawed. Among other goals, the conference in Canada seeks to determine the form of state for Cameroon moving forward, secure the release of political prisoners, and negotiate a ceasefire.
So Cristiano say the objective of the conference is to discuss the form of state. It is partially true because we will engage when we make that offer. It will be discussing the form of state with Cameroon. We don't discuss the form of state just within ourselves. What we discuss is an offer. What we are preparing is an offer for the Cameroon government to end this war. This is an offer that does not only include prisoner release, it also includes assisted return of our refugees, assisted return of our IDPs, the rehabilitation of our infrastructure, and also the protection of our rights, our human rights. It also creates Ambazonian an exclusive government where we have power and jurisdiction over specific area exclusively. It gives Ambazonian independent power to make decision in this jurisdiction. It is far more broader than the jurisdictions we had during the federal system with Cameroon, because we had jurisdiction, I think, in 4 areas. We have specific jurisdiction in exclusive jurisdiction in 4 areas. So the peace plan is broader than that, and I want you people to know. And it is not just to discuss the form of the state. The form of the state is very important. We want devolution is constitutional dispensation. So that is what we are demanding, and I want you people to get the full picture.
The participants involved in the conference are largely unknown entities and groups who claim to represent the Ambazonian cause.
So once again, Cristiano said that the participants of the conference are unknown and people who claim to represent the Ambazonian cause. And that is just a complete lie. The people who are attending this conference are members of Ambazonian known organizations that, for the purpose of confidentiality, I don't have to release their name. Some of the groups are groups that were involved in the Canadian negotiation. That is just to give you a little bit information about the people who have signed to attend this conference. It includes one of the biggest Ambazonian organizations that are known, that are champion for our struggle. That is not even important, because I have told you people that we have factored the fact that Ambazonians remains a divided camp. Our various factions are all divided, and we don't count on the established Ambazonian organizations to be very positive or progressive when it comes to solution because of their power struggle. What we expect is that even the Ambazonian groups that are established, that they will be disruptive. They will not want to participate if they are not in control or if they are not in charge, because that has been our experience. Because of that calculation, the approach of PRAP is a communal approach where we want our Ambazonian communities to be at the forefront of what we are doing for our nation and our people. That's why you see the first group of Ambazonians that were consulted were those in prison. We made sure that our prisoners were consulted about this. The leading Seseko and his team have been completely briefed. They have had chance to read the document, view the document, and they've had chance to comment and react to it. They have not edited the document and have not participated in the exercise of making the proposition, but they have been fully consulted. And one major other Ambazonian groups that is also based on in prison is participating in this conference. So it represents a broad base of our refugees, of our political prisoners. For the refugees, we have seen us engaging with our refugees in Nigeria. We have brought refugees in Nigeria. Their elected officials in camps that are known have come out with their traditional rulers to speak publicly and demand that they want an end of the war. They want to return back home through this assisted program that PRAP is presenting. That is how we work. We are also engaged with our IDPs. Elected members of our IDPs, members of our IDPs have also come to endorse this process that this is what they want and they are engaged and they are going to be in the conference. We also have wives of our soldiers who have fallen soldiers. We have active soldiers who are also participating through their delegates to come to this conference so that this document should really represent a broad-based Ambazonian. Even more importantly, we have even some Ambazonian organizations who are established organizations during this time of this war who are also participating. So what Chris Ano is saying is false. And I will not be able to release the names of organizations who are participating because I will need to get their consent. But we have already succeeded to secure a cooperation agreement amongst every participant to cooperate in developing this common position for us all for the interests of Ambazonia. So that is what is happening. It is not some strange people. These are elected Ambazonian officials. These are the Ambazonian citizens who have the right and are entitled to respect of their right of political participation, and nobody should to denigrate people because of politics. So let's hear what Chris Hano have to say.
Have little to no recognition or legitimacy among the actual leadership of the Ambazonian movement.
So what he's saying is that these people do not have a legitimate leadership amongst the so-called Ambazonian leaders. Which leaders are you talking about, Crisano? If you have made yourself a government, that does not mean everybody recognize you as a government. You have to know that the people respect you in your right, that you have a right to advocate. The Ambazonian leaders that you are talking, some of them are involved in the process. Some of them are there in this agreement. And nevertheless, this is a vision that PRAP is determined to pursue at a communal level, with or without any Ambazonian organization. Those who really believe that liberation by force is their way forward, they can continue to do what they are doing. Those who wants to seek a path of peace and negotiation to bring real and tangible solutions to our people will continue to do their part. So we are not saying that we don't want any organization to come. Our desire is that we want everybody to be a part of it, everybody to participate, but you must be willing. If we contact you and you don't participate, how do you expect us to include you? So I'll play the reaction of one of our interlocutor. That means somebody who was acting as a middleman between PRAP and Chris Ano's faction, his reaction to all of this so that you people can know that Chris Ano have been well informed. This is the person who was in charge in contacting Chris Ano. He's called Mr. Richard, and this was his reaction from this Chris presentation. Let me play it so that you people can hear.
I am surprised. I am disappointed. And I'm saddened for our people. I've just completed listening to the audio by Chris Ano. I personally provided him with a copy of a draft peace plan paper. I had a discussion with him about the need for all Ambazonian leaders to go through the documents and make input, because at a later date at a meeting, the input from all leaders and all contributors will be considered. There will be inclusions and there will be deletions of components that do not reflect what everybody feels is the best way forward. I'm pretty disappointed that Chris, who gracefully rejected the invitation to participate, has now presented this peace plan paper as if it was something built in a dark room and presented when in fact he knows it's not the truth. As a matter of fact, a month after I had the discussion with him, Chris staged and had an interview on his platform with a woman called Suzanne Gaze, who was also organizing a get together or a peace discussion in Washington sponsored by one of the universities. In other words, there was another effort to have something similar to the peace plan paper discussion as a parallel discussion. Perhaps it was meant to legitimize his own position or maybe cast confusion in the community.
So you can hear, this is the interlocutor between PRAP and Chris Ano, stating that Chris Ano was given the peace plan, he interacted with it, he was advised on the process, he rejected the invitation. So you cannot reject your chance to come and listen, to come and have input, and then you claim that it is done in secrecy. No. And you hear?
Below is the post presented by Chris promoting the interview he was having on that.
So it goes on and on and on. So our people should know that the other Ambazonian groups that have received this document, majority of them, which we know them, have rejected it, like Chris Ano. If you people think that you cannot engage with other people, you cannot turn behind and you complain that it is being done in secrecy. No. But it is what it is. We just hope that people realize how important this is and they engage positively and not continue to walk on their high horse. This pride and ego do not help anybody. For the sake of our people, we must be able to talk with each other, even when we disagree, to sit down and trash out things and do the hard work for our people. Nobody will do it for us. So let us continue to hear what Chris said.
These unknown groups or participants, together with the Cameroon government and religious figures in Cameroon, are pushing this initiative. One organization called International
So Chris Ano is saying that the so-called unknown participant, this unknown participant, even to him, Chris Ano knows everybody who is coming there. That unknown participant, the Cameroon government and the religious leaders are pushing this conference. This is very misleading to our people to understand. We know that we have a group of religious leaders who are 9 of them that have been working in Cameroon and they have been trying to push the Cameroon government to negotiate. We know that the way government works, governments are usually divided about peace or concession. In America, I will give you example because people may not understand. In America, when the black people were fighting against segregation, I think Martin Luther King was arrested in Montgomery for civil disobedience and trunk up charges. He was arrested. The American establishment as a country was against those who were fighting for freedom and equality. They arrested Martin Luther King when the president at that time, Kennedy, was not in support of it. As a matter of fact, Kennedy, the president of America, called the Georgia State Prison, the governor of that state, to put them pressure to release Martin Luther King on bail. So the president was against the arrest of Martin Luther, but he was arrested. The president was putting pressure for Martin Luther to be released. That is the same government in America, but different faction. So we should understand that the Cameroon government have people who do not want peace. There are people within the Cameroon government, we know their names, there is no need to be calling names, that benefit from this war. And some of their positions were given to them simply because of this conflict. Those people, for them to continue to remain in those positions, they would do everything to make sure that this conflict continues. So when we are talking in public, we should not be helping the people in the government of Cameroon that wants to continue killing our people and feed on the suffering of our people. So those people are even willing to bribe soldiers on the ground, bribe Ambazonian leaders to be radical, just to sabotage the process. We have seen so in many cases. We have seen Gala Gerard sponsoring attack on 11 February against the Cameroon government with the hope that they are going to create chaos for this war to continue. So Chris Ano coming out and talking about some of these things is only helping those within the regime who want to destroy the process. So when I say that the Cameroon government, there are people there who are fighting against this process, we should be very aware of that. We should not be just saying everything on social media. We should be accountable, but we must be restrained when we need to and when we have to for the sake of preserving the legitimacy of any process. So for him to say that the Cameroon government is support of this process, I think it is indication that there is willingness in the Cameroon government to engage and negotiate, especially as this process have dropped the demand for the demand, not that we have dropped our aspiration, we have dropped the demand for immediate independence. So if we drop this demand for immediate independence, we make this concession, we can secure a negotiated settlement with the Cameroon government. And the Cameroon government have shown flexibility, which we have seen in the military action since we started this campaign. The Cameroon do no longer carry out reprisal attacks against our community because we have told them that our community who have expressed this aspiration of independence, who wants independence for the large part, are not part of the fighting anymore. The fighting now belongs to some few fighting groups, but the aspiration belongs to everybody. So these are just expression of the same thing, but put in a light where people who are not well educated or understand things might be confused and say, oh, do you think the Cameroon government is in? No. If the Cameroon government is happy for this document, that is a good thing. The most important thing is that the document is good. You have to convince Cameroon to accept our position. You have to convince the international community. So if we have convinced the Cameroon government to accept our position, that should be a good thing for our people. They should celebrate that Cameroon can give us peace in a just manner. Because if you read this document, anybody who wants independence should know that peace is the right way. We have given example with the one of Scotland, Ireland. Nobody have attacked the content. Chris Anu have read the document. He has not attacked the content. That shows you that this is the best way for us to secure a future independence for our people. So let's listen to him. So if he said that the religious leaders are in support of this conference, the Cameroon government is in support of this conference, I think he's misrepresenting people's view. I don't think that this conference is supported by Cameroon. I don't think so, or the religious leader. But they are open for this. I think they will be very happy to have this this conclusion because it will be something that is acceptable by both sides. Concession in negotiation should be win-win for both sides. So, but to say that they are supporting this conference, I don't think that that is right. Anybody who wants just peace and fairness will be in support of this conference, naturally. But this conference does not have and have never seek the endorsement of the religious leaders or the Cameroon state. We have never done that. So let's go to what he's saying.
Communities Organization, ICO, is taking the lead in organizing or sponsoring the event. The ICO, International Communities Organization, which remains relatively obscure in global diplomatic circles, appears to be fronting this peace effort with a singular focus, that is, to end the conflict by promoting a solution rooted in the status quo, that is, the current regional structure within Cameroon.
So he's talking about our international partner, the International Community Organization, which we have secured. As I have informed our public, we have 3 international organizations which we have secured support for them, for us to push the agenda of devolution. The International Community Organization, who have been the leading support of our international partners in helping us achieve our goals, is a big success for Ambazonia. This organization that Chris Ano called an obscure organization is the biggest NGOs we can have in terms of fighting for self-determination. The ICO is a United Nations accredited human rights organization. Their membership in the UN system was voted in the United Nations General Assembly, supported by France, Cameroon, England, China, even Russia voted for the ICO. So when you're talking about obscurity, I don't think that you know what you're talking about. The other organizations that have been involved in our organization like HD do not have the credential of the ICO. ICO, in terms of international access, have the highest access more than any other organization, and their result have can speak for themselves. Through them, we have had direct meetings with the United Nations Secretary General. We have had direct meetings with countries, state parties that Ambazonia have never ever had those success. We have secured even an invitation for us to go to the United Nations to participate in helping pushing for our agenda. No NGO have done that to Ambazonia. So you cannot say that it's an obscure organization which is accredited by the United Nations. It has direct access to every country in the world, every structure of power in the world, and they are driven by their love for peace and humanity. They have been involved even in the Israel Palestinian war. They have been involved even in Kosovo. Later, the last news in Kosovo, where they were struggling to make peace when this issue of number plate came up in Kosovo, you saw them on TV in Europe there engaging in that negotiation, helping to bring peace in Europe. So this is a highly reputable NGO that we have succeeded to secure their support for our vision and their assistance in giving us that capacity to organize this conference and to carry out our diplomacy. So it is a big thing that we have a reputable organization like ICO that is supporting this initiative. So ICO will support as many NGO human rights organizations will support efforts that are going to bridge the gap in war time so that both sides can have the negotiation. That is what NGOs they do. So let's hear what he has to say.
The proposed peace plan appears to sidestep any meaningful conflict resolution.
So Chris Arnold the talk say the peace plan or the ICO supports the establishment in Cameroon. That means the regional establishment. I don't know where he gets that from. The ICO do not have a position in this conflict. NGOs, just like the HD and many other NGOs, whose interest is to bridge the gap between warring parties, usually they will not take side. Even they are assisting one side, they will just be assisting you in what you are doing. It's like a lawyer. Your lawyer represents you, but he only can reflect what you want, what you say, and helps you because they understand the system more on making your best presentation. So that is what ICO is doing for us, Ambazonia. We have brought them in, they have accepted to come in. We have a good relationship with them. We had secured a memorandum of understanding with them. A memorandum of understanding simply means that you have signed something with them that we can work together on this project. And because they have their own rules, they have their own expectation, we have to agree that, okay, we want you to help us, to represent us, to give us access. And they also needs to know what we are doing, the type of conduct that we do. Does it befit their organization to accept what we are doing? What we are asking them, can they do it? If they accept it, then they will agree with us that we want to help you in doing this. It's like a lawyer. Before a lawyer represents you, you have to have an agreement with that lawyer. That is why we have an agreement with ICO. And every group that we have come together to create this common position in Ambazonia, we also have an agreement with them. We have a cooperation agreement with every organization that is coming to Canada. Every individual and important personality must sign and agree that these are the terms that we work. That is how modern days things work. So let us hear what Chris has to say.
Instead, it suggests that the grievances of the Anglophone population will be sufficiently addressed in the peace plan, negating the root causes that sparked the conflict in the first place.
Somehow he says that ICO makes suggestion about the solution. ICO have never made a decision. Of course, NGOs, they can suggest to you and say, oh, this is what we think, this is what we think, but it is up to us on what we think. They have never made such suggestion. And that the peace plan do not address the root cause. It does address the root cause. The root cause is a root, as we have defined. For us, the root cause is a failure of Cameroon central government to uphold the principles and the constitution and the terms of agreement in Foumban. We agreed and we came out in Foumban with a constitution that puts safeguard against marginalization, that ensures our identity, and we have our own government, that we are run by ourselves. Those things were not respected. We have addressed these root causes. If Chris Ano can articulate what he calls as root cause or things that we have not addressed, he should do so. But lack of that, I think, means that he's just trying to play politics. The peace plan paper have addressed the root causes. It has defined that it has demanded for constitutional change that would define the constitute of the country. The constitution of Cameroon must be amended so that everybody reading the constitution should know that Cameroon constitutes of two separate entities that came together. We want the constitution to say that Cameroon is a union of two states, the former British Southern Cameroon and the former French Cameroon, that have come together to create this country. It should be in the constitution of Cameroon so that it will guarantee our territorial integrity, it will guarantee our outlook and us as a people. So those things are all addressed there, contrary to what Chris Ano is saying.
The problems with the conference, however, the problem with the conference are these. To understand why this conference is a subject of concern, it is important to consider the fundamental flaws in its design. At its core, the conference is not a genuine negotiation or dialogue between.
So first, he had mentioned that the peace plan it neglects a conflict resolution process. What are conflict resolution process? It starts with the group articulating your own, preparing yourself, coming together. Sometimes I just think like it's very disappointing to hear Chris Ano and many of our people speak. When they come and they try to sabotage things, the main thing he's trying to do is that he wants to sabotage it because he's not a part of it or he's not in control of it. He has opportunity and we still give him that opportunity. And every Ambazonian organization to become a part of this conference, it's very important that you become a part of an organization, a part of a conference that can help us put our act together, have a common position, and speak with one voice for the future of our people. The concession and the calculation that PRAP has made, nobody have challenged them. Every day you see the international community confirming what we have already said. We have told you people that we are getting into a total loss scenario where our struggle will be labeled as an extremist struggle. And it has already started. Bacho have been indicted for has been arraigned for crimes against humanity. Once convicted, this war will be associated with crimes against humanity, will be labeled as an extremist, as a struggle that have an extremist angle of it. And I can guarantee you, Dr. Julius Nee is now singing like a bird, talking to the Cameroon government from the indications I've heard. Trust me, he's not doing so. He's not afraid of himself. He will end up in jail if he continues to be proud. Chris Ano will be arrested. This is a prediction I'm giving you people. Chris Ano will be arrested. The American government is now seeking for extradition for Ayabacho. They will ask. I'm telling you people what is on the pipeline that I've been tipped off because we are very competent and people trust us. What is happening, they know that we represent our people well, so we have this type of intelligence. The American government will ask for extradition of Ayabacho. You people are thinking that Cameroon wants Ayabacho, America wants Ayabacho, and Mama Wali, majority of the ADF people that you know who are making their mouth today, they will be arrested in America. Why? Because the American government says that this crime that were committed, money that was sent to the forces that committed these crimes were collected by people in the United States of America for the committing of these war crimes. These people knew about this war crime. There were enough information to them to know that Ayabacho was carrying out war crimes. The human rights organization, Human Rights Watch, had meticulously informed the public of this war crime, but these people were donating money that were used to pay these soldiers who carry out these war crimes. So they are all culpable. They are all part of the organization that is being prosecuted. So there will be people who will be arrested in the United States and they are going to do so. They are going to get into trouble because of their own self. They refuse to listen. They refuse to stand with our people. They help commit war crimes back in Ambazonia. And number two, the money that were raised by the Ague of Sea, that were announced by the Ague of Sea, that the American government know they were raised, were never declared in the United States as it is supposed to be done, legally speaking. So they are in deep problem. If they don't change their ways, when those type of things will be happening, na then sabi. But I be done talk am. If you are fighting people who are innocent, a matter of time, it will come back to you. It will. So people should know that the path we have put forward is a rational path for anybody who is sincerely fighting this war. And if you decide to become on the part of people who are inflicting pain on our people, there is no legitimacy for the fighting anymore. You have heard the international community, they have said that those who are representing Ambazonian war on the ground are not reflective of the will of our people or the interests of our people anymore. The attack against our civilians from our own forces have delegitimized the fighting. So if you are continuing in this way, if you are continuing supporting things that are associated to war crimes, you are, with the information that you are you are putting yourself in a danger list. So everybody who is genuine should align themselves so that we can stand on the side of our people and the side of human rights.
Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon, yet it seeks an end to the conflict.
Even John Ba Okoro, a tsunami is going to come, which is going to save our people, because some of our leaders or people who claim to be leaders have become a problem today to our people. And our people want them gone. Our people want them gone for the chaos and hostage they have had on their lives. A tsunami is coming that even John Baokoro, let me not say too much, but let us listen to what Chris Dano is saying.
Rather than bringing together representatives from both sides of the conflict to engage in open and transparent discussions, the conference in Canada seems to be orchestrated by one faction, that is, unknown groups, some of whose leaders currently operate businesses in Cameroon.
So Chris Arno said that some of our leaders, I don't know whether he's talking about PRAP, because first he says it is being orchestrated by one faction, that is PRAP. Then he says that there are many groups whose leaders are operating business in Cameroon. Of course, there is no member in PRAP who is operating businesses in Cameroon. And I don't think that we have any interest or conflict of interest here. So what he's saying is, I don't know what to. Some of these things doesn't even make sense. When you're trying so hard just to sabotage something, sometimes your criticism does not even. They are not even criticism anymore. So what is he actually saying? He contradicting himself at the same time.
In open and transparent discussions.
So he said that instead of bringing two sides to discuss, that means the conference in Canada is supposed to bring us and the Republic to discuss. No, because we are not yet ready. Before we meet La Republic, we have to make sure that we are prepared. We have a common position that is supported by our communities, our refugees, our IDPs, not only the so-called leaders that you have assigned yourself, leaders that the people themselves do not even recognize you. Some of those people you call leaders have been banned by our people. So how do you want us to make a conference in Canada start to negotiate with Cameroon when we have not negotiated with ourselves? We have to discuss with Ambazonians, hear what they have to say, hear their position, look other Ambazonian groups who have their own vision, and we say, okay, let us sit down with you and we see how we can put all these things together so that we have a common position. Our people demands that we have a common position. Our people demands that we have unity. We have extended invitation to everybody. We have even a public Zoom meeting with everybody. So nobody can say that we are not inclusive. Nobody can say that we are not for unity. Nobody can honestly say that. There are audio from people talking about other groups discussing about this issue. Unless they choose not to be a part of it, and then you have yourself to be blamed.
The conference in Canada seems to be orchestrated by one faction, that is, unknown groups, some of whose leaders currently operate businesses in Cameroon. They have unilaterally decided on a course of action.
So he's saying that our group have, PRAP have unilaterally decided on a course of action. Every group is entitled to to come up with their own roadmap. PRAP as an organization have that right to unilaterally decide on our course of action. And also, other groups have that right and freedom to say, let us come together, perhaps create a platform or create a roadmap, and let us take a look at it. And let us see whether we also, our own roadmap, because every group is supposed to have their own course of action. This is our own roadmap. Where do we merge? Let's see where we disagree and how can we amend those disagreements. That is how it's supposed to work. So to say that PRAP have made certain unilateral decisions, it doesn't stop you from making your own decisions. So this is a problem we have. They are angry that PRAP is taking leadership, or PRAP have taken a leading role. Every organization had that opportunity to do the same. For the past 1 year, 8 months, only PRAP have been taking the initiative to say that we need to negotiate, we need to dialogue with Cameroon. So how will somebody turn and blame us for something that they were not doing? So in any case, let's hear what Chris has to say.
These decisions, or the peace plan they call it, will then be forwarded to the Vatican, which in turn is expected to secure Cameroon's endorsement of the plan.
So when I hear Chris, he says that this plan, peace plan paper, this document is supposed to be submitted to the Vatican, and then the Vatican will ask Cameroon to endorse it. Let me play it again so that everybody can hear what Chris Ano said.
Will then be forwarded to the Vatican, which in turn is expected to secure Cameroon's endorsement of the plan. This approach is deeply problematic.
So Chris Ano is claiming that we are coming to Canada to make this peace plan paper and then forward it to the Vatican. Then the Vatican is going to forward it to Cameroon to endorse it. That is not true. We have already explained to our public that we seek to get this peace plan, take it to the United Nations, and meet state party, convince them to endorse it as the most viable and the right solution to end the war in Cameroon, so that we will have diplomatic pressure on Cameroon government to accept this solution. Cameroon is not waiting to accept this solution. Cameroon is not. There are factions in Cameroon who do not want negotiation. You people know that already for sure. It is our job to force them and even to meet them halfway and encourage those camps in Cameroon who want peace. It is our duty to do that. We should not think that somebody will do it for us. So the idea that we want to gather this document and give to Rome is just false. The idea that Rome have to play this role for us is just false. Of course, there are always the Catholic Church trying to broker peace in all conflict around the world, and I will not get into that because that will not be appropriate. Such possibilities of mediations or the viability should not be discussed in public. These are things that we kept secret. You can remember the conference in Canada. Even though we were accountable to people, we made sure that the things that are sacred should be kept secretly. So for me to be talking about the possibility of a Pope mediation or Pope intervention is not appropriate at this stage. I talk about the Canadian own because it has failed. I have spoken about that in Britain because it has failed. And what our people should understand is that our original roadmap in PRAP was that we want the United Kingdom, Great Britain, to mediate between us and the state of Cameroon. But that has been undermined because when we start pushing for the direct negotiation, other groups like Chris Ano and Sako, to an extent Ayabacho, engage with individuals to engage with the Cameroon government that they also were ready to negotiate. And because of that, it has opened other possibilities for mediators that are less powerful than the British government. And the British government have simply walked back because if the Cameroon government start engaging with other interlocutors and mediators and facilitators, then every other party in the world will respect that because they're a state, they're a country, they're a state. So that is just what is happening. So on the contrary, the Chris Anu and the Sako have become a weak link. Those who have called for direct negotiation with Cameroon without doing the hard work to secure viable guarantors have helped the Cameroon instead to choose a path that is more weaker than what we were hoping for.
Several reasons. Number one, the lack of transparency surrounding the conference. All of the frontline Ambazonian groups were invited through the Consultative Commission, but have been kept in the dark. Again, they have been kept in the dark about the specifics of the conference, including.
So Cristiano is saying that other Ambazonian leaders were invited by the Consultative Commission. The Consultative Commission is a group led by Fontemniba and Mark Cheps. This group are claiming to be representing the other groups. At the same time, the other groups are saying that this group do not represent them. If the other groups want this group to represent them, then they should say so, because we have directly invited the other groups directly. None of them mentioned the consultative committee as being their representative. None of them in their response. They simply rejected the invitation. And now they are saying that they were invited by the consultative committee. When the consultative committee, that means Mark Cheps and Fontemniba, they approach us and they tell us that they have other groups that they are in contact with that they can bring. We told them that our format is that we want the international community organization, which is an international NGO, to play the mediating part, act as an interlocutor between the various Ambazonian groups, talk to each groups, get their suggestion so that we can easily build consensus around it. Because if you have Ambazonian groups to Ambazonian groups talking, we will end up fighting over things and then we will miss the context, the content. So it's better let us do it in a professional manner. That was our approach. The ICO also agree, and they have told they demanded the MacCheps and Fontemniba to provide the list and contact of all the groups that they want to be contacted. They have not done so. They have asked them several times, they have not provided that list. The MacCheps and Fontemniba have been engaged deeply with me. They have full briefing of every thinking, every political calculation that we are doing for the conference. And they should have informed all these groups that they claim to be representing. And they have, because we have intelligence from these other groups that gives us what they know and what they don't know and the questions they have raised. So the fact that they are saying that these groups do not have specifics about the conference is not true. They know that the conference is about the peace paper. They have read the peace paper. They know that this conference is for us to narrow our gap and finalize the common positions that we have all expressed already. We have had those conversations already. We have had debates. We have had hours and hours of meetings already. So they know the content of the conference. There is nothing new that is going to happen in the conference. What is going to happen is that the Ambazonian groups are going to come together, agree on a common position to be made a concrete offer for peaceful resolution of this crisis. The peace plan paper is meant to be the base for the future of Cameroon, the base for future negotiation with the state of Cameroon. That is what it is meant to be. So we are coming there to put that common position, sign it, so that we can be able to use it as a physical document, which is what we lacked when we went to New York. In New York, we presented only the principle, but we needed to have that paper that we can give to countries and say, this is what we want. This is what we are demanding from Cameroon. Endorse this. And then we can take that document to say, Cameroon, let us now negotiate on the basis of this paper. If Cameroon accept the principles of this paper, they accept it, then we negotiate the details down with them. That is the format we have arranged. And that is what we want our people to know. And that is the best format. It is beyond what we did in Canada. It is beyond what we did in Switzerland. because both in Canada and in Switzerland, every group had their own position. We didn't have a common position. We all just came there and we were making, working out things as we go. But now we say that we have learned our lessons. Instead of us going to meet Cameroon without any position or even meeting the international community, let us have a common position first before we start meeting other people.
A memorandum of understanding MOU that was secretly reached or signed between the sponsor ICO and individuals like Ngong Emmanuel, or they also call him Capo Daniel, who himself is a controversial figure. Capo.
So Cristiano is saying that PRAP has a memorandum of understanding with the ICO, that it was secretly signed. You know, this is just very pathetic for me to listen. This is how the world works. PRAP succeed to contact many NGOs. The one that works with the consultative platform and with many other Ambazonia, the one that works in Switzerland, no, in Cambodia, they call it Mediators Without Borders, were the first group that PRAP, when we created this organization, contacted. And we told them that we have a vision, we have a plan to develop a proposition to meet Cameroon, and how can they help us? They listened to us, they say it's a good idea, but they didn't do anything. We contacted even HD. We told them that this is what we're planning to do. I contacted NOREP. I had those conversations with them, but they could not help us. We wrote to many organizations, including the ICO. They didn't come to us. They only started coming to us when we start engaging state parties and we start campaigning publicly that we want to drop the demand for independence. We want to advocate for devolution as a pathway for our people to achieve independence. Then they approach us and say, this looks brilliant. We have tried to help Ambazonians before. ICO were the organization that helped us to have access in the United States to this joint Congress there where we spoke to the Congress in America. They were helped by ICO, but they abandoned the struggle because they saw too much division, and the plans that we were demanding was not something that they think they could help to make come to pass. So when we started doing this, our proposition, they came and they said, okay, what you guys are doing, we think it can help, it can work. We are interested in helping you people to meet or to have to achieve your goal and to have common grounds where you can actually negotiate with Cameroon. So for them to help us, we have to sign. We have to sign that, okay, we have agreed that these people can help us to speak. These people can talk to us. So this is how things work. It's not a strange thing. I know in Ambazonia, even when we went to Toronto, some people were saying, no, we cannot sign. Signing means you are entering into a trap. Signing means that you are having a secret agreement. No, it's just how things work. We have a memorandum of understanding with ICO. We had told our people that we have secured international partners that have partnered. That means they have come together with partners. We have international partners. Not only ICO, we have 3 different international NGOs that have signed a memorandum of understanding with us to help us. The ICO is championing this particular project, and we are very grateful for their help, and Ambazonian should be.
Daniel, once a prominent voice for Ambazonian independence, has recently shifted his stance towards advocating for regional autonomy rather than full independence, a position that many believe aligns more closely with the interests of the Cameroon government than with the aspirations of Ambazonian people.
So Cristiano is saying that I no longer advocate for full independence. I'm advocating for devolution, or what he calls regional autonomy. You people should understand, to attain independence is step by step. We are advocating for Ambazonian independence, but our pathway is through the devolution. We have made it clear. We stand for independence. The independence is the aspiration of our people. How do we get there? Do we get there by just talking? Do we get there by taking actions that can lead to that destination? Or we take actions that we want it now and that it frustrates future possibility for us to have it, to have the independence? We have wisely chosen a path where, of course, devolution is a middle ground. It far surpasses what Cameroon government has offered or what they would even entertain. Devolution is better than even what we had after Foumban. It's better than what we had. So we should understand that the freedoms and independence we are going to have in devolution is more than what we had when we were in West Cameroon. It gives us full autonomy. It gives us full jurisdictions broader than what we had in after Foumban. It's actually good. To say that it is closer to Cameroon own objective, that is how negotiation work. Is give and take. You have to look for middle ground where you can accommodate even the adversary. You don't negotiate with somebody that you have everything in common with them. Negotiation is win-win for every side. It's also lose-lose for every side. Everybody loses a little bit, everybody gains a little bit. But our hope is that we secure a pathway for our people to achieve full independence in the future and not squander that opportunity today.
While Ngong Emmanuel or Capo Daniel and a few others push for the so-called devolution or regional autonomy backed by the government of Cameroon and the bishops, many Ambazonian leaders remain steadfast in their pursuit of full independence. For these leaders, any discussion about a settlement or peace plan must involve a sit-down with the Cameroon side as equals. They have made it crystal clear.
So the thing is, can you possibly force Cameroon to sit down as equal? Can you sit down as equal with Cameroon, Mr. Crisano? Even in Foumban, we were not sitting as equal. Ambazonia was not a recognized and independent country when we met in Foumban. Cameroon was. We were not equal, but we seek equality. So how can you be fighting a war that you are losing and then you say that you want to go and sit as equal? We are not determining the table. We have not succeeded to bring Cameroon to its knees. So when people like you just keep on talking, people like us do the job, then you say we won, we won, we won. Can you get what you want? If you can get what you want, why are you even talking? You should not be even talking on social media. You should just go ahead and do what you can do. So we have tried our best and create this opportunity now, and groups are coming around. You say that we are fighting for full independence. We are also fighting for full independence. What is your way of fighting full independence? Liberation by force? It does not work. Expecting negotiation for people to come and meet you and talk to you? No. You must go out there and convince. Independence is not casting out demons where you come and shout and say, I cast, I bound, I do, and then you think that it has happened. No. You don't just come and shout on social media. Chris, I know you have to do the hard work. There is no shortcut. You have to be competent to come up with proposal. You have to be competent to meet and convince international partners, secure support of NGOs, secure support of state parties, convince and put real pressure on Cameroon. Today, the peace plan paper have tremendous millions of dollars in pledges and expected pledges to be able to meet and convince Cameroon that this is something that is good even for them. We have succeeded in achieving this thing, and every Ambazonian should come around it and say this is a good thing.
That they will not accept a situation where one faction speaks for the entire Ambazonian people without their consent or input.
So you are saying one faction speak for Ambazonians without their consent or input. You are claiming to be a government. Do you have the consent and input of Ambazonians? No. So one faction can speak for the interests of the entire country. That is the whole idea about the right of political participation, the right of political organization. You can speak for the interests of everybody. We do not claim to speak for everybody. We claim to speak for the interests of everybody. What we say is for the interests of everybody. It is not disputed. We are Ambazonians, we are citizens, we have that right to speak for the interests of our territory. And we are doing so. We are expressing that right. We are exercising that our right of political organization and participation. And there is nothing anybody can do to take that away from us. So if you want to become a partner, you cannot refuse to become a partner and then you are complaining that you are not a partner, that we are doing it alone. This idea that Ambazonia thinks that you can hold things hostage and say, okay, una go no, una fit do one without me, una go, I go see how una succeed. They should also know that when you sit back and say that una go do I go see how una succeed, you are also helping the enemy for us to fail. Because if we fail in this process, this is the last hope for our people. This is the last hope for our people. If we fail in this process, what we are going to have is the Ferdinand Gongo Atanganji plan of special status, which is going to be watered down after Paul Biya died and given to other regions in the country, and our ideas and our uniqueness of our territory will be gone.
Most of the consultations leading up to the event have been conducted in secrecy with little to no involvement from key Ambazonian leaders.
Like I've said, we have given Chris Anu ample opportunity. He has read the document, he chose not to participate. We have given Mark Barata the document, he chose not to participate. We have given everybody the document, they choose not to participate. Now, the ones who are participating, the leaders of the community, the communal organization, even the leading Ambazonian organizations that are participating, you are now complaining that they are not participating. They want to participate only through a way, only through a way. Ambazonians are disappointed with the so-called leaders. That is why PRAP was created. If you can see Chris Ano talking like this, you people should know that when I say that there is no hope in all the established organizations to help our people forward, because they are more concerned about their groups and their own personalities, that if it is not them, they are willing to withhold their support so that everything crumbles for our people. They are willing to destroy Ambazonia and destroy every opportunity for Ambazonia if it is not them. That is why we must not wait for them. The train have left the station. But we hope that our brothers from the other groups will realize that it is the best interest of our people and for their groups and them as individuals to join this train and let us make it well for our people. Those who stand in front of the train, it will not be a good thing.
This has led to widespread distrust, particularly as the organizers, the ICO and Capo Daniel, have refused to release critical details of the MOU with Capo Daniel to frontline Ambazonian groups. This secrecy has fueled speculation that the conference is little more than a ploy to impose a predetermined outcome on the Ambazonian people.
First of all, no group have demanded any details and we did not provide. I have recorded meetings between the consultative platform and myself. When I call consultative platform, it is Fontem Niba and Mark Cheps who have come to me, including one of the leading Ambazonian organization, which I don't want to mention because I will need to consult the individual before I mention his name. They came to me, we had a meeting, 2-hour meeting, and they asked for I am the one who informed them that we have a memorandum of understanding with the ICO. They have never known, Chris Ano didn't object when he didn't know that. I told them that we have an agreement with them, which is normal. It is how things work in modern days. They asked for the details and I gave them the details. It is not anything that is, it is like a 1-paragraph document that simply says that I, Capo Daniel, the chairman of PRAP, with the consent of the executive of PRAP, we agree that the ICO should help us in diplomacy to achieve the goal of devolution as a solution with Cameroon under the framework of the peace plan paper. It's just as simple as that. Because before this organization go around talking and they'll ask them, you are talking on behalf of a separatist group, you are a British-based organization, and you are claiming to be representing or talking on behalf of this group. Where is the document that proves that you are talking on their behalf? The ICO can show them that, look, this is a document signed by the leader of this organization. And it is the same thing with the other groups that are coming to Canada. We have also signed a cooperation agreement with them. So that if we go somewhere and they say, your people are claiming that what you are saying reflects a consensual agreement or position, a common position, how, which group is there, we can show that look at the group that have agreed on this principle or agreed on this document. You must have paperwork. That is how things work. So that is how it works.
One that serves the interests of Yaoundé rather than addressing the core issues that have fueled the conflict in the first place. Now, I'd like to bring you the role of the clergy, the bishops in Cameroon. Another key player in this unfolding drama is the clergy. For months, religious leaders have been involved in behind-the-scenes maneuvers to broker understanding within Ambazonian leadership. Notably, a clergy delegation led by Archbishop Andrew Nke of the Catholic Church and the Reverend Funky Samuel of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon met with some Ambazonian leaders, including yours truly, both in the United States and abroad. Their mission was to persuade the Ambazonian leadership to participate in a certain conference, in other words, this Canadian conference, and then another one at the Vatican, where the clergy hope a peace plan that would end the conflict would be drafted. And then
Look, fellow Ambazonia, what Chris Anu is saying there is betrayal at the highest level, is make our struggle look like a clown show. I cannot confirm or deny anything about religious leader Archbishop Andrew Kia, Reverend Fonki doing maneuvers. If those things were to happen, or if those things are happening or had happened, they will be top secret. When an ongoing process is happening, they usually will have clauses of confidentiality for the purpose not for hiding it from the public because you need to hide it sake, to protect the integrity of a process. Like I told you people before, it is not that the Cameroon government is not a single entity, but you should remember that even in the case of America, the leader of the movement against segregation, Martin Luther King, was arrested by the American government against the wish of the president of America. John Kennedy actually called Georgia when Martin Luther King was put in prison in Montgomery. I don't know the exact names of those places, to put pressure that he should be released. And he even put pressure, they could not release him, and he started put pressure for him to be released on bail. So you can have a government with many factions. And we know that Cameroon have factions that are built based on their hatred for Ambazonians and Anglophones in general. So if indeed there are some missions going on, maneuvers to have interlocution or mediation, it should not be something that Chris Anu should be saying. He is actually saying that people, giving names of people and claiming that they come to meet him, like it is something you should be saying out of proud. These should not be things that you use for political capital, Chris Anu. Trust me, there are pictures if I put out there, you people will be shocked the people I've met. When I went to even England, that the mission have completely, not partially failed because of other Ambazonian groups' sabotage actions. I've not even put out pictures. I've not. Even the meeting in Canada, I've never shared pictures about those meetings. I've never called names unless they are names that have already been put out or things that I think that the public needs to know without compromising even future chances of talks. If the religious, anybody was supposed to come to Cameroon to talk, they will first start with PRAP, because PRAP is the initial organization who started campaigning for this thing that has made it possible. So it's very sad that Chris Anu is talking about these things, mentioning the name of people out there, saying all these type of things. I will not deny or reject or comment on this specific, but I would just want to point it to our people that this is the reason why Chris Anu cannot be trusted. Somebody that can talk about things in the corridor of diplomacy when it is not yet mature in this manner is not just seeking for attention above the interests of our people, but he's undermining potential possibilities of Ambazonians having a resolution of this conflict. Not everything we debate on social media, even when we are transparent and accountable, we don't have to go to that length. It is just unfortunate and it's a big disgrace, a big betrayal of our cause.
Submitted to the Vatican. However, the Ambazonian leaders were clear in their response. They would not attend any conference unless it involved direct negotiations with the Cameroon authorities.
So for Chris, Ambazonian leaders, they want to go and negotiate only with Cameroon. Now, is what he's saying. So what different is it from what I've been saying for 1 year, 8 months now? Was I not calling for direct negotiations? Now you are saying you want to negotiate. And now you're even refusing to prepare before you go. So how do you want 10 different Ambazonian organizations to go or and meet Cameroon government and be speaking with 10 different microphones? A will come and say, I want this way, I want it to be this way. B will say, I want it this way. Don't you think any normal person will say that it is good for the Ambazonians to have a common position, to have a documented common position, not just saying? Do you not know that that is what you're supposed to have? I encourage Chris Anu and the other Ambazonian groups that do not want to become part of PRAP. I challenge you that prepare your own position to demand for independence from Cameroon. Because I've worked with all of those groups, I know the loopholes there. I know their laziness, their incapacity. They just want to talk. They don't want to do the hard work. Prepare your own. What stopped you, Chris Anu, from doing the same thing that PRAP is doing in a better way? Or even doing it for independence, not for devolution? Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying is right. As he will admit later in this video. Listen to him.
Ambazonian leaders expressed their willingness to dialogue or to meet with Yaoundé anytime, any day, but rejected the idea of a one-sided process where the Ambazonian leaders or leadership would be expected to negotiate among themselves without the involvement of the other party, which is Yaoundé.
So, this is what I was saying 1 year, 8 months, that we must have direct negotiation. Now he's saying that Amazonian leaders want to negotiate with Cameroon anywhere, anytime. That means they are ready to go to Yaoundé to negotiate. You understand? So it takes 2 years averagely for people in that loop to come to conclusion, which we have done. It takes 2 years. It is a good thing to want to negotiate anytime, anywhere. But it is not just about being willing to negotiate. We have always been willing to negotiate. It's doing the hard work, getting ready, and also creating that opportunity to be able to force the other side to negotiate. The idea that direct negotiations will happen was initially promoted by PRAP, campaigned on by PRAP, but we don't want to take it and own it. It is Ambazonia. We are all in this thing together. It's not about which group started it first or not. It is also important, but not that important. So our thing is that people should come together, accept our limitation, accept the reality, and see how we can move forward. We should not put our people in hostage because of this idea that it is either one way or death. Today, you have seen Cristiano coming 360, saying now that all of them in that group of, I guess, in the group of, I guess, they want to talk with Cameroon now, even in Cameroon, anywhere, anytime. The only thing I say, they want for come now for negotiation table in front of Cameroon, start to talk to Cameroon. They don't want to negotiate amongst ourselves. How can you do that? It's ridiculous. But we did that in Canada, where all of us will go there. But we already know that what if there is a disagreement? Who is going to stand? We are going to be divided. We knew that in Canada. As a matter of fact, as a leading member of the team and the most influential member at that time, I kicked out the group of Marianta in Canada because they were hiding their own paper, their own position. They were hiding it and they were lying to the other delegates about what they intend to present. But when we went to meet Cameroon, they start talking something that we were not told in advance. So even in Canada, we had that challenges. I kicked them out. I kicked Marianta Group out of Canada. There was even one lawyer who came the lawyer who came, I will not give his name, saying that he's representing Siseko and the prisoners. I also kicked him out because he was not behaving properly. We must know that we must come together first as Ambazonians, have our own common position, articulate it, do our research before we meet Cameroon to negotiate. For us in PRAP, our approach is because of the way the conflict is going, Cameroon do not have incentive to negotiate. We must be able to get that diplomatic pressure first. And force Cameroon to accept. That is what leadership is. Not just to negotiate, but force them to accept a negotiating position. That is even more stronger than what they are saying.
The leaders also voiced concerns that the Cameroon clergy, had been meeting with Capo Daniel in an effort to speed up the process leading to the Canadian conference. In other words, the Catholic clergy and the Presbyterians, they have endorsed Capo's conference. They were essentially trying to convince the Ambazonian leadership to embrace Capo Daniel autonomy peace plan, arguing that this would be a more palatable solution for the Cameroon government.
Once again, that the so-called religious leader, if it happens, were forcing them to accept the peace plan paper as the best approach. I have no idea about that, and I cannot comment about that. But I don't think if the religious leader were to be involved, I think their issue will be trying to advise Ambazonian leaders to have a common position and to have something in writing, not just talking. They should have something in writing. I wouldn't comment about that. I would just say that this is something that everybody should support. And if people support something, it is good. That means the thing is good. Chris Ano cannot just be angry that people are supporting something if that is his idea. But he should be looking at the content of the thing and say, is this thing, the content of this thing good? Is the content of this thing serving the interest and the aspiration of our people? Is this thing better than what I have? Because what you have now is liberation by force, is failing, it is dying. This alternative is the best way that can keep our independence in sight.
In other words, they were out pivoting for the Cameroon government. This revelation has only added to the perception that the Cameroon clergy, Bishop K and Funky, rather than acting as neutral mediators, are in fact working to advance a peace settlement that favors Yaoundé.
So you see, the thing is that Amazonian, our leaders, anybody who is reasonable, they say you support Nadiwan. Hey, you support Nadiwan. It's just ridiculous. That is how we have this type of idea have made our soldiers to think that the war of Ambazonia is a war against normalcy. Normalcy in the terms of people living in peace. They want to make noise. They want to destroy things. They want to attack our own people to create noise when they cannot attack the enemy. This is a very primitive way of thinking. It is not right. So let us hear what he says.
With them backing the Canadian conference and the ICO, it is now clear that the clergy's efforts were part of a broader scheme to lure Ambazonian leaders into a peace settlement that prioritizes regional autonomy over full independence.
So they'll start to make false accusation, false story for one thing. You want to be the leader. You want to be in charge. You want your own. But now, Chris Ano, if I even say that you lead with what? What do you have? What do you have? What peace plan do you have? What roadmap do you have to have full independence? Ambazonians, look for yourself out there. All the groups, they have presented themselves to you. They talk to you in public. What solution they have? Fontaine and Cheps, they put out a document to support lockdown that interrupted our school, that led to the death of people in Ground Zero. Have they been held accountable for that? Do they know the policies they are putting is helping to destroy the struggle and the resistance on the ground, separating our population and making them to have a resentment to our soldiers? Are they aware of those things? What plan do you have, Crisano?
For many Ambazonian leaders, this is simply unacceptable. Now, why do I make the allusion to Foumban in this about this conference. The parallels between this new Canadian conference and the historic events of Foumban are striking. You will recall that in Foumban, the Southern Cameroon's delegation was sidelined, while key decisions were made by the leadership of French Cameroon. In fact, they came with a pre-prepared document. Today, the fear is that history may be repeating itself, if not averted. The ICO, which, like the French Cameroon delegation in 1961, is coming to the table with a pre-prepared peace plan, one that has already been negotiated behind closed doors. This plan, they will claim, represents the will of the Ambazonian people, despite the fact that it has been crafted without their input.
So, I admit the comparison in Foumban, not in the way that Chris Anu have said it. Look at it, fellow Ambazonians. In Foumban, the reason why Cameroon had their way in negotiating the Foumban constitution is that they had the support of a neutral, more competent country called France. The French government and their lawyers helped Cameroon to prepare their own document, help Amadou Ahidjo to negotiate amongst them. They actually had a debate in the Cameroon parliament. So Cameroon amongst themselves, they debated, prepared a document, well-prepared document. They even gave Jongu Foncha a copy of the constitution. So Cameroon have a third party that helped them. Now look at Southern Cameroon. Southern Cameroon had infighting. Ndele could not negotiate or discuss with Foncha. They were at odds. They were still arguing and fighting each other. The Southern Cameroon Bar Association made recommendation to Jongu Foncha as a leader. He ignored it. He did not share it with the other delegates. He went to Foumban Conference without all the delegates having a common point. They had 11 points that did not include any safeguard for our people. They were talking for the capital of Cameroon to be in Douala and all this type of cosmetic PR things. They were not focused on exclusive jurisdiction and the things that we are focused on. So if we have learned from Foumban is that the side that has a foreign input is always better. So the comparison that Chris Anu is making, that France was helping Cameroon. Now we have the ICO, helping Ambazonia through PRAP, backing one faction. Remember that Southern Cameroon have different factions as well. So now we have the advantage of an international organization that is competent. We have access to incredible people around the world. The peace plan paper, after we conceive it, after we provide the vision and the details, were looked at by even people who wrote the treaty the peace treaty in Ethiopia, and many constitutional experts have looked through this document and see that it is very good and also enhance it. So now that we have a prepared document, shouldn't we go in this coming Foumban prepared like the Cameroon side were prepared so that we can beat the other side? That should be the lesson anybody should draw from Foumban. So if the Canadian conference is another Foumban, then this time we have turned the table around and give the advantage to Ambazonia, the advantage that La Republique had in the Foumban conference itself. So Chris Anu, you are right. This is another Foumban. But now the table have turned. Instead of Cameroon having the support of the international community, Ambazonian, through the ICO, will now have a support to access that the Cameroon government will not have. We have beat them in that game. We are far more advanced now and we are going to succeed. So that comparison saves us well. We should have a prepaid paper. We should have negotiated with ourselves and agreed on a common position. And we should have everybody have their input in it.
The goal of the International Communities Organization, ICO, and its collaborators is very clear: to present the peace plan to the international community as a settlement that has the backing of the Ambazonian leadership and stakeholders. Falsehood. This
I think Chris Anu sometimes is over your head. The idea, I know Ambazonia, they were idea say You go talk say I no go follow una, I no go dey there. I go see how una go succeed. No, no, say you the head na yourself. Now, we have not claimed that the peace plan paper is supported by all Ambazonian groups. We will not misrepresent ourselves like those who claim that they are government when they are not. We are very honest. This peace plan paper is a document that we expect to be a common position, communal base. That means the Ambazonian refugees, the Ambazonian IDPs, the people themselves, we want them to have this opportunity to represent these organizations that represent our people more. Of course, now we are lucky and happy for the Ambazonian organizations that have stepped in and said that let us make this document better and let it reflect our own positions. So it is going to be a common positions for the groups that have signed and agree to be part of it, including the major Ambazonian groups that have already signed the, the cooperation agreement to cooperate and make this document to be a common position for us Ambazonia. The other groups have their rights to object and stay away. They have their right. But they should not complain that we are not effective because all of us are not together. But rather, they should seek way to compromise their own position as well and see how they can make this thing better. We have done the hard work already. Now they can come in and make it better. They can come in and make changes. Even we heard that Chris Ano was even objecting about the name peace plan paper. There is no problem about that. We are not obsessed about ownership. We want this thing to be an Ambazonian thing. The desire, as a matter of fact, we want all Ambazonian groups to come and take a look and see how they can make it better, see what they can change, so long as they are honest about it, that it is for our people. It is the future. It is to end this war and bring a just peace to our people. It is for us to be able to have independence, full independence. Can we have it now? No. Can we have it in the future? Yes, if we do the right thing now. Because even the future will also depend on what we do today.
And will then be submitted to Yaoundé for approval, just as the Foumban Accords were.
So, if in the Foumban Accord, the French Cameroon they had the foreign support and they came and forced Southern Cameroon to accept and approve what they have already decided, and then now we Ambazonian we have an opportunity to design the future, to articulate the future, to put what we want in that future, and then be able to force Cameroon to accept it. I would say it is a good deal. Yes, it is a Foumban. This time the table have turned. So it's a good thing for Ambazonia. Come together. Let us choose the form of state that suits our aspiration. Let us choose safeguards that can protect us from abuses and discrimination and assimilation. Let us put safeguard that protects our territorial integrity and the rights of our people so that they can enjoy freedom in the land of our birth. Let us come together and see how we can secure freedom for our people. And let us not play politics with it. The conference in Canada is happening. We encourage all Ambazonian groups that have previously rejected invitation to contact us and see how we can move forward and see how they can help and make this thing a success. And let us keep aside our politics and our partisan and group limitations to embrace this approach as the most viable way for us to move forward for our people.
Legitimate leaders of Ambazonia and stakeholders. This process is not approval, just as the Foumban Accords
Listen
were.
to this part, very important.
But for the legitimate leaders of Ambazonia and stakeholders, this process is nothing more than a facade, an attempt to impose a solution that does not address the root causes of the conflict.
So listen to what Chris Ano have said. He says that for the leaders of the stakeholders, for them, they have decided that they will not be a part of it. Remember, he is not saying that the leaders of the people. He's talking the leaders of the stakeholders, because the idea of majority of our groups that have evolved, they are now focused so much to get support and endorsement from armed groups that they are willing to even get support for criminal gangs, and even La Republic have created false group in Ground Zero that gives them support that go around kidnapping our people and commit atrocity. They will even accept Atanganji boys just to be relevant. So these are leaders of stakeholders, and the stakeholders are the groups, the people in their group some of whom have been promised to have contracts in Southern Cameroon when we have freedom, some of whom are there because they have donated money and become vested in those groups, not vested in our people's future, but vested in those groups, and they have become like political parties that seeks benefits for their own interests above that of our public. But we, me, Capo Daniel in PRAP, we seek partnership with groups that do not see themselves as leaders of stakeholders, but leaders taking leadership for our people's welfare, well being, and their aspiration. We stand and we focus to lead our people in a path that will secure their interests, their territorial integrity, and their independence, not looking out for our own stakeholders or our own group affiliation. No. And that difference that is coming out from Chris Arnold's mouth should show our people what type of leadership best represent their interests. So it goes without saying.
As the conference draws nearer, coming up again October 8 to the 10th, if not changed, the warnings from the Ambazonian leaders have become more urgent to every one of you out there. They have made it clear that they will not accept any peace plan that does not come from a conflict resolution process. For them, the only way forward is through meaningful dialogue with the Cameroon government. Dialogue that acknowledges the legitimate grievances of the Ambazonian people and seeks to address them in a way that is both fair and just.
So we all are saying the same thing. Negotiation or dialogue should happen between us Ambazonians and Cameroon. Now, how should that negotiation happen? If that negotiation is happening now because of the position shift by PRAP that has made these things possible. If we didn't take those decisions, if we didn't fight for this 1 year, 8 months, it will not happen. We will not be having this opportunity. It is the right thing to do. Now, to go and negotiate with the country, we must be prepared. Those who believe that they want independence, I give them a challenge. Make your case. On what basis do you want independence? Make your case, and how can you achieve it? Those who thought were relying on the resolution 1608, even Thibault Nagy have said that there is nothing there that can help us for independence. So can we have it by force right now? Of course not. So we are over laboring ourselves, fighting each other, explaining things that were supposed to be easy, where brothers from the various camps were supposed to be helping us. Instead, we are there hitting our head. I'm here having sleepless night, waking up so early, when we could be there preparing for our people, help coordinating them so that we can have an end of this resolution. So it is what it is. We will remain a divided faction. Cameroon will have advantage when we come in different groups. And at the end of the day, the lingering effect of this war will go beyond even the resolution of the war. There will be groups that will continue to fight in the bush like the Lord Resistance Army in Uganda. And those groups will be people who follow their ego, who are unable to make compromises when it needs to be made for the sake of the people.
The path forward, ladies and gentlemen, the Canadian conference represents a critical moment. Fraud with potential dangers, particularly for the Amazonian people. If history has taught us anything, it is that peace plans imposed from above rarely succeed in.
So I'm privileged to be considered above and imposing the plan on the people. The truth of the matter is that we are not above anybody. We may just be influential. Things may change. Right now, we are humble, and we are not imposing anything on anybody. We are listening to everybody. We are accepting changes and amendments from everybody so that it can reflect our entire struggle and it can best present the best interests of our people. And what we don't accept is anything fraudulent. We do not misrepresent ourselves. I am the chairman of an organization. Our organization have been seen. You people have seen our people mobilizing our refugees on the ground. You people have seen all the actions we have taken. We have been transparent and everybody knows everything. And the fact that Chris Ano is giving details about those issues, talking about how Mark Chaps and Fontem Niba in their group have informed them and debate with them, he might be misrepresenting what they have said, or they might deliberately try to lie because they are not interested in solutions, they are interested in leadership. I've discussed with Fontem Niba and Mark Chaps because they have not put out any public statement, but they have definitely informed Chris Anu. So I'll keep my reservation about them for now. But like I said, we take everybody how they come. We will be very brutal to defend and protect our people's interests against every enemy of their interests. We'll be very brutal, and we'll also be very nice and very cordial with those who act like gentlemen and those who act with honor. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The Canadian conference have been postponed to a later date around the end of this month. All the Ambazonian groups that have been invited, that have agreed and signed the cooperation agreement, should continue to work hard and make sure that we have well articulated positions that are backed by international principles. And as we seek to meet the members of the United Nations in November, we ask every Ambazonian should pray for success. We have had tremendous success. I'm going to do one episode. I was waiting for an international press release about our accomplishment in New York during this 78th session of the United Nations. We were the only Ambazonian faction that were there pushing for our things. Thank God to our international partners. And we'll brief the nation subsequently. God bless you all. Keep praying for us. Pray for our country and our suffering people who bear the brunt. This peace plan paper represent the hope of our people abroad, those in the prison, those IDPs and refugees. It represents salvation for our plight and our aspiration to become independent. God bless you all.